Celtic faced their biggest Europa League test yet on Thursday night. Beat Utrecht and we're through, but there's drama building at Celtic Park, with 2,400 away fans expected. Norwich have just tabled an €8 million bid for a striker we've been tracking, and we've got major injury updates that could change everything for the Utrecht match. It's all kicking off, but first make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Celtic's Europa League campaign comes down to one defining night under the lights at Celtic Park on Thursday. Beat Utrecht and playoff football is secured. Anything less leaves the door open and invites uncertainty into the final reckoning. That alone would be enough to guarantee tension, but there are a couple of subplots involved. Utrecht arrive in Glasgow with a familiar face between the posts. Vasilis Barkas returns to Celtic Park, a goalkeeper whose time at the club never worked out. A symbol of the poor recruitment and the dreadful COVID season. There will be no shortage of attention on him and his performance. The atmosphere inside the stadium is another key factor. Celtic FCSLO. John Paul Taylor has confirmed that 2,400 Utrecht supporters will be housed in the away end. That is a sizable travelling support by any European standard, and one that will make itself heard. He wrote, "Due to a significant away support tomorrow, it will be necessary to close the southeast external concourse between the A gates and Kinloch Street. Closure will be kept to a minimum, and fans are asked to approach stadium from the side your seat is located if possible. On most nights, that noise would be swallowed by the roar of paradise. Right now, the balance feels different. The Green Brigade remain banned on collective punishment without due process. The impact on the atmosphere has been noticeable. Noise comes in pockets rather than waves. There is still the familiar surge before kickoff and the organic lift that European nights tend to bring, but sustaining it once the game settles has been harder. Without an organised group to drive the crowd, Celtic Park can struggle to find its voice during quieter spells. Utrecht's travelling support, by contrast, will be concentrated, loud and relentless. That places extra responsibility on the players. In recent weeks, the team has had to spark the crowd rather than feed off it. Early tempo, front foot football and visible aggression will matter. A fast start does more than put Utrecht under pressure. It pulls the home support into the contest and helps reclaim the noise that has been missing. There is no escaping the stakes. This is effectively knockout football. Celtic know a win puts the matter beyond doubt and secures a place in the playoffs. A draw leaves them glancing elsewhere. Defeat does not bear thinking about. European nights at Celtic Park are meant to be an advantage. Even with a quieter backdrop, the history still hangs heavy. The crowd will respond if given something to respond to. This feels like one of those nights where the line between control and chaos is thin. Utrecht will sense the tension. Barkas will want a point to prove. Their supporters will fancy their chances of making an impact. Celtic's task is simple, if far from easy. Play with authority. Set the tone early. Now for the main story, as on Wednesday afternoon, respected transfer journalist Fabrizio Romano reported that Norwich City have submitted a formal €8 million package, including add-ons, to Bodo/Glimt for striker and Celtic target Casper Ho. That update puts Celtic in an all-too-familiar position. Interested, informed, but watching another club move first with a serious financial commitment. Ho has built his reputation through prolific domestic form in Norway and eye-catching European performances. Bodo/Glimt were already believed to be holding out for a substantial fee. Norwich's move does not just meet that expectation, it goes beyond it. Celtic's business this month has amounted to 2 loan deals. Right-back Julian Araujo arrived temporarily from Bournemouth. In attack, Thomas Kvankara was added on loan from Germany to cover immediate needs. Both moves make sense in isolation, but neither represents long-term squad building or a clear statement of intent. As it stands, Celtic have not committed a transfer fee in January. That is why the Hogue situation cuts deeply with supporters. This is not about whether Celtic have the money. They do. The real concern is whether the board are willing to release it, especially with uncertainty hanging over the managerial position beyond the end of the season. The internal logic is easy to predict. Why sanction major spending now when a new manager may arrive in the summer? Why commit to a player who might not align with the next long-term vision? The flaw in that thinking is that it ignores the reality of the present. This season has already been damaged by transfer hesitation and managerial instability. Recruitment mistakes in previous windows have left the squad thin and unbalanced. January was meant to correct that. So far, it has been defined by caution. If Celtic want to give Martin O'Neill a genuine chance of winning this league, caution cannot remain the default. Loans may steady the ship, but they do not change its direction. Another striker remains the pressure point. Injuries, inconsistency, and a lack of reliable depth have repeatedly exposed the squad. Ho represents a rare chance to address that with a player in form at the right age and with clear resale potential. Norwich have now forced the issue. Matching, or at least competing with, this level of offer would signal belief in the season that still lies ahead. Failing to do so would only strengthen the view that this board remains reluctant to back ambition when it matters most. In other news, Lech Poznan chairman Karol Klimczak has cast fresh doubt over Luis Palma's long-term future at the Polish club, despite the winger showing enough form to keep the option to buy clause alive. His comments underline the financial gap between what Lech would like to pay and what Celtic currently hold in their favour. Palma joined Lech on loan last summer, with a purchase option reported to sit between 3.5 million and 4 million euros. That figure has always been ambitious by extra-class standards, and it stands out even more when set against Lech's own transfer business over the past year. Their record signing remains Yannick Agnero, the 22-year-old centre-forward signed from Halmstad's BK in Sweden for around 2.3 million euros. Agnero arrived as a long-term project and a statement of intent. Palmer's option exceeds that outlay by a clear margin, and that reality frames Klimczak's comments. From Celtic's side, the structure makes sense. Palmer is an established international winger who has already delivered in the Champions League and domestic competition in Scotland. His loan was not designed as a cut-price exit route. The option reflects both his pedigree and the market Celtic believe he still sits in. Lech, however, operate under different constraints. Even with Palmer contributing goals and assists, committing to a fee well above their previous record requires certainty. That is where the chairman's tone becomes revealing. There is humour in his words, but also caution. He said, "I wish we could negotiate the terms of the buyout. The paradox is that if Luis were to stop scoring and assisting now, maybe we'd somehow manage to convince Celtic that the transfer fee is excessive. We know Robert Lewandowski was told not to score goals for Barcelona to avoid paying a bonus to Bayern Munich, but we wouldn't do that. But the position at the moment is we still don't know if we can sign Luis permanently." The comments show how Palmer's form works against Lech as much as it helps them. Every goal makes his value clearer, but it also strengthens Celtic's position. Lastly, Martin O'Neill's Wednesday morning update on Thomas Kvankara carried a quiet reassurance for Celtic supporters. 3 days on from the Hearts game, where the striker took a heavy knock and limped through the closing stages, there was no mention of injury at all. In this window, silence on fitness often says more than any medical bulletin. Instead, O'Neill chose to focus on performance, on what Kvankara showed in his debut, on how quickly he adapted to a demanding environment, and on what the striker might offer Celtic as the season enters its most unforgiving phase. That choice of emphasis matters. If there had been concern about Kvankara's availability, it would have surfaced by now. O'Neill has never been one to hide behind vague updates. His decision to speak positively, and only positively, points toward a player who has come through the Hearts game without lasting issue. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.